G'day folks, and welcome back to the channel for part 3 of our Aether Pet Ritualist playthrough, where I give up. I went and I spent, 15 minutes or so, I forget, maybe half an hour, but I spent some time farming the Warden. As you can see, he dropped his shield a few times, dropped his weapon a couple times. I was looking for a weapon with 100% physical damage converted to Aether damage for the pets, and I didn't find one. However, I did find these two on the screen actually, very good weapons for normal difficulty, and I have the Warped of Bestial Rage equipped, and halfway through Act 2 I'm going to equip the Warped of Binding in the offhand, um, which is, you can do it. It's not something I would strongly recommend for a newer player. I would say probably one of these shields would be a better choice for a newer player, just because they make you more defensive, less likely to die, which is what you want. But as I said, I killed the Warden I think 6 times, and I've given up trying to get the 100% conversion. And because I am planning on dual wielding them, it doesn't matter. I will farm a better one in Elite, and that'll basically be around the same time as I swap away from dual wielding. So we're going to continue on. I gained, I think, 3 levels, maybe 2 levels. I put points into the bar, I put points into the Blight Fiend, and I put 1 point in Bone Harvest in anticipation of getting this proc at some point. I have Bone Harvest on the bar. I'm basically not going to use it, and yeah, that's it. I'm going to go through here. This lady here with the kids wanted us to get some fabric, which we got, I think, in episode 2. She's going to give us a nice new chest piece, which if you don't have something like I have, this is a very nice chest piece. In fact, I'm just going to wear it because that resistances, vitality, aether, and elemental, and health, and more armor. It's considerably more worth to me than the total speed and health on the pets. Yeah, so that's where we're up to. 1 points in physique. One thing about itemization for a pet build. Now, you might be looking at this and going, well, that's got pet stuff on it, and that's got pet stuff on it, and that's a pet ring, and that's a pet book, and yeah, these gloves have got pet stuff on it, and you know, the chest you had on had pet stuff on it. One thing you have to be aware of is it doesn't matter how strong your pets are. If you have a massive hole in your resistances, like for example, you have no poison and acid resist, and you stand in poison damage, you will die, and it doesn't matter how tanky your pets are. So, especially for a hardcore playthrough, especially for a veteran playthrough, your resistances are much more important than 10% health and 5% speed to your pets. Okay? That's another reason why I would recommend a newer player use a shield instead of dual wielding. It's because of the resistances. Now I'm going to sell all this, and I'm going to go back and buy that because I actually want to keep this one. So yeah, your resistances are very important, especially in veteran, and really, really super especially in hardcore. If you die, you're dead. That's it. Go back to level 1, start again. So it is really important on hardcore that you make sure your character is as tough as you can get. A lot of people will tell you that, you know, pet classes are really good for your first hardcore class because they're really tanky. And that's kind of true, because they don't technically have to tank for themselves. They have the pets. The pets will tank for you, and you don't really have to tank. But, when you start getting damaged, a summoner is not a tanky character. For example, on the Archon build that I just finished, that is a very tanky build, and also it is it has huge amounts of lifesteal. A summoner does not have lifesteal. If you get hit, you don't really have any fast way of regenerating heaps of life. You're reliant on your pets to tank for you. So do everything you can to keep your resistances maxed. Get more health. If you don't have at least 100 times your level in health, you need more health. If that means taking off, these gloves with 10% health and total speed for my pets, if I found a pair of gloves with, 80 health on them, I would probably swap these off. If I found a pair of gloves with, let's say 12% elemental resist and a few hit points, I would swap them off. Really, really important in hardcore. With that particular rant out of the way, let's dip our toes into Forgotten Gods and get our movement skill. And also, I wanted to talk about some gear. Because, can I see them yet? Yes, I can. Okay. Soleil is, if you're going to do Forgotten Gods, Soleil is the one you want to go for with a skeleton build. This helmet, you won't use this helmet. You will have a better one. Okay? Helmets, you will not be using. Chest pieces and shoulders are what you're going to be using from the faction reputation stuff. This one has +2 to raise skeletons, your main skill. +2 to primal bond, which is going to be, where are we? Shaman, primal bond is this one. This is the exclusive ability you will be using. This gives your pets bonus damage, crit damage, blah blah blah. The important part of this though is it gives you percentage damage absorption on your main character. This is incredibly powerful defensively. So Soleil is the better of the 3 witch cults. I'm just going to go around and do this section. Bismail is typically considered to be the pet god, but Bismail has conjurer stuff. It doesn't have skeleton stuff. You'll see in a second. I will show you the Bismail stuff. I will do the usual search for skill. And there is one item, and it's a medal. +2 to raise skeletons, and +2 to summon Brythorn. This is pretty good. Okay, but it's level 90, and we will have better by then. There is a medal later on that will give us +1 to our max summon, I think. But we're not going to use this, which means for us, Bismail is pretty rubbish. She does have some Briarthorn stuff. Helmet, we're not using that helmet. We are using a different helmet. It's an MI from Malmo. We do have a ring with Briarthorn on it, but this is cold damage. We're not interested in cold damage. It's not very good. Again, helmet, and that is a weapon. We can't use that weapon because we are stuck with a Warden's Judgment for converting. Bismail is not good for this build. For most pet builds, Bismail is fine. For this one, for the witch cults, you want Soleil. I will show you, that is a new belt, I think. Elires and some pet stuff. Yep, I'm going to put that on. I will show you the, not Soleil, what's his name? The poison guy. Dreeg. I will show you the Dreeg stuff. It is the same. There's no skeleton gear at all for this guy. So we're not interested in Dreeg. We're not interested in Bismail. So we want Soleil. But. The Coven and the Wendigo cult both also have skeleton gear. So realistically, we don't care about any of these 3 witch gods until we want their augments. I believe Bismail has the best augments for pets. Let me just have a look. So what do we got here on armor? No pet stuff actually. I was expecting bleed resist for rings and amulets for your pets. Okay. So we're going to have one-hand weapons and shields, so that's all damage, crit damage, and armor for your pets, which is nice. Let's have a look at what Dreeg has. Pet. This is again rings and amulets, damage, crit bonus. So realistically, not a huge amount of pet stuff. So what has Soleil got? I don't think Soleil's got particularly amazing augments either. I'm pretty sure the majority of the pet resistance augments are from the Act 3. The Act 3 stuff. So no pet resistance augments for armor. Just damage stuff, it looks like. Chaos damage, all damage, chaos damage, armor. Yeah, okay. So I was remembering correctly. So like I said, realistically, we don't care about these witch cults at all, which means I'm going to take Drieg for the first set because he has the movement augment that I want. And there is one more thing we have to do before we get started on Act 2. And that is Crown of Command is a good item for a summoner. Just going to stand in the acid until I die. Crown of Command, pretty good for a conjurer, sorry, not a summoner. It's actually not awful. 20% all damage and attack speed on your pets is pretty good. And it has some resistances, so I'll probably hang on to that for a minute. Gonna go talk to the emissary, and as I said, I'm gonna take Drieg for normal, and just for the movement rune. Not that we have a medal to put it on, but we can fix that. Alright, here's Drieg. Yes, I will work with you, goodbye, and see you again, never. So, this is the one I wanted, the Rift Stalker. If you prefer a different movement rune, by all means, don't bother with Drieg. Go do Soleil, go do Bismail, whoever you prefer. For this playthrough, that is the extent of the Forgotten Gods stuff I'm going to do before probably Ultimate. Because I just don't need any of their faction gear, so I'm not going to bother. I'm going to swap that belt. Again, keeping the... Why can I not do that? Does it have one on? That's why I didn't put it on. Okay. Beautiful. That's the one. Dope. Okay. We're good. Alright, ideally I would want another Silk Swatch to get my PS and bleeding resistances up. Unfortunately I didn't kill enough bugs on the way up to get one, so I don't get to have one. Let's check for more skeleton gear. Still looking for a couple more levels. Not the end of the world though, we're plenty strong enough. Okay. This is the part where we get a huge power spike. We search for Aether here, we go to Wrathstone, and we get 2 of these. Okay. We've converted, or 92% at the moment, but it's going to be 100%. If you wish to, you can keep farming the Warden until you get one with 100%, or you can dual wield like I'm going to. 92 is enough. It's not great, but it's good enough. So we're converting all of the physical damage on our skeletons to Aether. So if you look at the ancient weapons, 114 to 137, that's going to become something like 110 to 131 Aether damage and like a handful of Fizz damage left over. And we're going to, if you have a look at this at the bottom there, bonus to all pets, 75% Aether damage, times 2 is 150% bonus damage. Now our pet bonus damage, where is it? Pet bonuses to damage is only 30%, so we're bumping that to 180% or 179% realistically. This is a massive, massive damage buff for these pets. These are auras, you need to turn them on, and you will need to reset them every time you come into the game. But they add flat Aether damage, they add Aether Retaliation damage, which I don't really care about, and they add percent Aether damage. This is a huge boost to damage early on, and usually when you hit level 20 and put 2 of those on, you will go from having to kind of dance around the warden, maybe call your pets out a couple times so they don't get stomped on and squished. And once you put these on, you will just stand there and kill him before he does anything to your pets. So this is a huge, huge spike in power. It's probably the biggest one you're going to get in the entire game. So enjoy it while it lasts. You can see we're taking a decent amount of bleeding damage there. Right, next thing to talk about. You can, if you want, put some points into Unstable Anomaly. Now what this does is it makes your Blight Fiend into a temporary pet that lives for 12 seconds, but it does let you have 3 of them, and it makes them incredibly cheap. What this means is you have to resummon it, resummon it, resummon it. Every like 6 seconds or something, you'll be resummoning one of these things. I hate it, but some people swear by it, and we don't call them wrong, but it is not something I'm interested in doing. So I'm going to max out Will of the Crypt now. This is giving us more vitality damage for the skeletons. These bonuses apply specifically to skeletons and only to skeletons. That percent elemental damage, percent vitality damage is applying to all of our skeletons. It's a pretty big boost in damage. The flat vitality damage at the top there is also quite good at low levels when you're not expected to have 2000% bonus damage. It's really good. It gets less good later, but it's still good. So we killed, what's his face? Joel Skinner or someone Skinner. Oh no, Steven Skinner. With this guy, you just want to put your mouse just above there so it's on the very bottom of the top option, and then click 3 times. And by 3 I mean 5. And he will go back to town, and you'll have done your good deed for the day and saved him from burning a building down with his family inside it. Alternatively, if you were playing a fire build, you could kill him and take the torch, which is actually a pretty good fire weapon. But we're not doing that today. Okay, this guy right here, Drew Larkin. This is probably one of the most contentious, at least for myself, quests in the game, because if you help the guy you just talked to, you get a really nice ring for leveling in normal and or veteran, because it gives you a huge chunk of chaos resist, of which we currently have 0, and this is something you really, really need to cap at a point in the game where there is not a lot of chaos resist items available. So the ring for helping that guy is really, really good. Unfortunately, the quest very, very, very strongly suggests that you really don't want to help that guy because he's not a good person. So it's kind of, it's a bit of a conundrum, put it that way. I have helped him in the past because, like I said, that ring is really, really good, really useful. Comes at a time when there's not many more, or not many options for that particular resistance type. But that guy's, he's a dick, to put it very mildly. So I'll leave it up to you guys playing along. If you want to help him and get a really good, really useful ring that you will replace, but yeah, you will be helping evil to get your ring. I'm not going to do it. I'll find another way to survive the chaos damage at that particular point I'm talking of, but it certainly trivializes the fight that I'm talking about. Moving on, this guy here, Barris Redlith. He's always here. He's very tanky. He'll do a decent amount of damage to you as well. And we just kite him until he dies, or until he eventually attacks the angry potato here, the smelly potato. And then he dies. Stone Altar is usually pretty good for items, and this Exalted Stash here is what's called a one-shot chest. If I were to reset the game now and come back, this chest would not be here. You get this chest, or this kind of chest, the one-shot chests, are available once per difficulty per character. They guarantee you a single blue item, and they usually have pretty good stuff in them, or at least stuff you can sell. This particular breastplate is actually not bad for level 27. I don't know if I'm going to wear it, but it is decent. When I get to level 27, that will probably be the best option I have, so I will probably wear it. Then when we get to 35, there'll be other stuff to swap in and out. Okay, so we run through all the undead. As I said, I'm not going to help the that guy I found on the side of the road. You may choose to do so. You will get a very nice ring out of it. I will find another way. This guy here, Isaiah Redden. If you say what you have to say but make it quick, you are choosing to side with this guy. If you pick anything else, you are choosing to kill him and his daughter and help the other guy. This is only a choice where it's difficult to make in normal/veteran difficulty. In elite and in ultimate difficulty, you will have more than enough resistances. The ring is not good enough. And the guy I just spoke to, Isaiah Redden, he will become a merchant for you, and in higher difficulties you really want that merchant because he will sell you cheap potions that are worth stocking up on for various different fights. Right, so we go through here. I'm going to dump all this rubbish, clear out my inventory. Because I have this this relic, I'm not going to do my usual trick. I'm not even going to do it just to show it. Where you go and find the relic that he just sent you to get, the Elder, and then you lie and tell him that the relic was gone. I'm not going to lie, I'm just going to give him the relic because I don't need the relic. It's not good for a pet build. And I would rather have the reputation. So there'll be no lying in this playthrough. If you want an example of what the relic looks like, you can find it on Grim Tools, or you can go and watch a different playthrough where I did lie to get the relic because it was good for the build. But I won't be doing that for this character. We are looking in here for Royal Jelly. We need 3 of them for a quest, which is definitely worth doing. There's our second one, so we just need 1 more before we get to the quest. So there we go, we're done. Okay. Because I got those 3, this now means I don't have to go into the hive. If you didn't have those 3, you may wish to go into the hive and kill the queen for, I think she guarantees 1 or 2. But you would be able to get them from the hive easily. There's enough bees and stuff to click on in there that you would get your jelly. Like I said, I already have the jelly I need, so I'm not going to bother, but I will point it out on the way past. Okay, when you come out of the mine there, you're going to head north. This is where the next quest is. Was sent into that mine to get some dynamite to blow that up. When we've got the dynamite, we can blow it up. But we were sent up here to also talk to this elder Again, I'm keeping an eye on the number of skeletons I have, and if I see it get down to 7, 8, probably 8, if I see 8 I'll just resummon, depending on, again, what killed them. If I'm going into a boss fight and they're dropping like flies, I'm not going to resummon them at 8, I'll wait till it gets down to 6. Okay. Detonation site, we destroy it. You don't have to go back at this point. I am doing it just to kind of get it out of the way. This is the first point at which you have all of this done. I will give them their relic back. And I'm going to resummon my skellies. This guy destroyed the barricade. He gives you another inventory bag, so now you have more inventory space. And apparently I got to keep the dynamite, or potentially I got 2 of them. Alright. Let's go back to where we were and continue onwards. I do have to go talk to Monet as well. Once you've played through the game a time or two, it's actually quite easy to forget to go back to talk to people, and then you end up doing it all at the end of Act 2 or whatever. But we'll get it out of the way. Okay. So we're going to kill Darius Cronley as our next major quest, and we do have to speak to this guy at the camp. Was it this camp or the next camp? I think it might be the next camp. Yeah, it's the next camp. Okay. So I didn't need to come back here. Alright, heading north, resummoning all my skeletons because I put points into Will of the Crypt and they all decided to fall over. But that's fine. So again, we're still in that lovely point where, I mean, yeah, I have Bone Harvest. I can use it as a spell to attack things. Realistically though, it doesn't do very much damage, and I don't have the proc to attach to it yet, so I just kind of walk around and pick stuff up. This cave entrance is the entrance to the Beehive. If you don't have 3 royal jellies on you already, go in there and clear it out, or get your jellies or whatever. Just be careful, the Hive Matriarch does hit pretty hard, and she does have a poison shotgun at close range. Putting more points into Shepherd's Crook. Health and Cunning, that's going to get my pets some Ellie resist, which is going to be very useful. Again though, just walking, walk past everything falls over, thanks for the XP. The next thing I'm interested in getting is Devil's Crossing up to Respected, for which I need 1,000. And then that will get me another skeleton. That will get me complete conversion to Aether. Right, this guy here, you got a couple options with him. You can either, if my character will stay still, you can bribe him to go away, or you can threaten him to go away, or you can just kill him to go away. I'm going to give him the iron bits. I'm going to talk to Alicia, and she's going to give me some scrap. You're paying about half price for the scrap, so it's worth it, especially early on when you don't have a bank with hundreds of scrap in it. If this is your first character, it's definitely worth buying that scrap at half price. Right. This guy here wants us to kill a troll just to the north, which we will go do. And then the guy on the floor next to him, or sorry, the guy on the floor wants us to kill this troll. And the guy standing next to the guy on the floor is who we're going to give the royal jelly to. Notice the pets going down in damage. Not a big problem. We're going to be fine. Sorry, going down in health. Okay. Have some injured men. Is this enough royal jelly? Yes, it is. Now he gives you this recipe, so you can make royal jelly balm now, which gives you health regen, both flat and percent. It's pretty good. The normal version of that quest gives you a very basic royal jelly. It's not amazing. The elite and ultimate versions of that quest give you upgraded versions, and they are both quite good. When you're fighting some of the tougher bosses in ultimate, and maybe even a few on normal or elite, it's definitely worth using the pots for them. I don't really care about Hallian. If you did want to kill him, he could be down here. He can also be up here. Just here, he's not home today. But or he is home, but he's not here. So he will be down here. He's really good for a conjurer. If you're playing a conjurer, I strongly recommend killing him, because he will give you a medal with a whole bunch of skill points for your Hellhound, and it is definitely worthwhile killing him. Coming through this mine here allows you to skip going up past the pit. The pit is somewhere I have lost a lot of hardcore characters. You can skirt it and not aggro the NPCs in there. You could just kill them. If your build is good, you can just kill them. But for me, on hardcore, it's not worth the risk. So I just go through that mine, and the mine is guaranteed to have a dynamite in it anyway. So you'll see I have 3 now, but it's definitely more worth it to me to go through the mine. This is another one-shot chest, so we'll grab that. No, it's not a one-shot chest, it's just a fancy chest, because there is no blue item. One of the rare times that I actually spin the camera. I generally, as I said in the first episode, I generally don't like it to be spinning like that. That definitely hurt. Runebound Archive of the Sands. Alright, we are coming up on Cronley's hideout. There's one boss outside and one more of the forges to kill. So here's the forge. And here is, what's his name? Ash the Wall. He's always there. Often worth killing, not always. But, you know, pretty good. My reputation with Devil's Crossing is getting close. I usually get, what is it? Revered? No, it's not revered. It's like friendly. Not friendly. Respected. Respected. Words are hard. I usually get respected with Devil's Crossing sometime around about either killing Cronley or turning in the quests for having killed Cronley. I'm not 100% sure exactly where it is, but it will be soonish. So this is Cronley's hideout. This is kind of, I don't know, halfway through Act 2, I guess. The first part of Act 2. With the second part being the Arcovian Undead. Right, level 25. Let me show you what I mean about this. I will put 1 point into Unstable Anomaly, and then max out my skellies. So you see, I summon him, he's a bit smaller, and he doesn't appear up here anymore. Now there's 2 of him. And now there's 3 of him. Okay, so now I've got the whole army ready to go. There's 3 of him. which is, you know, 3 times as good, I guess. But for me personally, I prefer to keep the one big Blight Fiend, because every time one of these dies, if there was a, say this wall is a boss, right, and you have 2 of your dudes hitting him, the Blight Fiend doesn't have taunt, he has increased threat. And actually I don't have that yet, but this one here generates additional threat. Okay, these things die, and then the threat that they had disappears, and he goes to the next thing on the list, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And it's only so fast that these can build up threat. So eventually, if you're doing anything at all, you're going to get to the point where the boss is hitting you and not your pets, because they don't live for long enough to get threat, or they have it for a second and then they die because they run out of time. If you have the what is it called, the Briarthorn? Keep trying to call it the Briar Fiend. Anyway, if you have the Angry Pot Plant, this one here says generates additional threat at the moment, but at higher levels it just says taunt. So you can have him tank for you, and then you have these additional pets. But by the time you get to that level, you're gonna have the Conjure Primal Spirit. You're gonna have Call of the Grave to worry about. You're gonna have a whole bunch of other stuff you got to worry about pushing. The last thing you want to be worried about is, did my Blight Fiend run out? Why am I tanking the boss now? And I don't remember if I said it in this playthrough yet, but I found the Briarthorn actually struggles a little bit to hold aggro on large groups. I don't know if this is just better, but it feels like it's more effective, if that makes sense. When I have the Blight Fiend tanking for me, I very rarely end up actually getting hit by things. Whereas if I have just the Briarthorn, it's not uncommon for him to be over here tanking like 3 monsters, and meanwhile there's 2 over here hitting me. Maybe it's personal bias because I'm not the biggest fan of Conjurers, but for whatever reason, I just find the Blight Fiend to be a better tank than the Briarthorn. Maybe it is just bias, but it is what it is, and that's kind of how I feel about it. You can make up your own mind if you want to have temporary more pets, or if you want to have permanent tank pets. Personally, I will be choosing the permanent pets, and I will finish this area with the temporary Blight Fiends, and then I'm going to go and respec. Alright, Moneybags here is a big deal. He is quite painful to deal with. He puts all this rubbish on the ground that your pets will stand in. They will stand in it. They will take damage. They will die. I had to resummon a couple times in that fight. Alright. Based on your choice in Act 1, you may or may not have a little man standing here next to this fire, and this door may or may not be locked. If in Act 1 you sided with Durrani, so you didn't kill him in the town, he will be here, and you will have to talk to him, and then you will have to kill him here. So if you are in Ultimate, I would say always either side with him or at least don't kill him, so as he is there, because that way he can help you in farming reputation for the Cronley's Gang Nemesis boss. Don't really need Nemesis loot for this build, but they do drop pretty good loot, so it's maybe worth thinking about if you want to kill that Nemesis. There will be other Nemesis for loot if you are just looking for loot, but yeah, it's up to you, basically. I am starting to take a decent amount of damage every now and again, which is not ideal. Okay, this dynamite here is always there. It's guaranteed dynamite. If you're ever trying to grind dynamite and for some reason you don't have enough Aether shards to just make them, these mines are a good place to get it. Between the two mines that I usually go through, you'll get between, I think there's 3 guaranteed. There's at least 2 guaranteed dynamites in these mines, and maybe 3. I could be wrong on that, but you can potentially get considerably more depending on drops. Moneybags, I think, can drop up to 3, so you can get a lot of dynamite very quickly by running through the mines. Alright, so we're coming up on Cronley himself. Cronley does a lot of Aether damage. He is also an Arcanist, or at least he has the Arcanist skill that basically lets him do, or lets him take almost nothing for damage. So we're going to walk in, pets are going to kill the Aether Crystals, then we'll go talk to Cronley. Doesn't matter what you say to him, there's a bit of story there, but it doesn't matter what you say to him, you're going to end up fighting him. So I'm just going to start the fight. You will see he will put like a shield up around himself. There it is, you can see that blue orb. While that's up, you can still hurt him. Like you see the number, it is going down. But it's not very much damage. And he's going to tear your pets up. He will also summon the Aether Crystals periodically during the fight. Hopefully he'll summon one so I can show it before he dies. Nope. Okay, he dropped his ring, which is decent ring if you don't already have 2 good ones, but better for Nightblade. So you'll see +3 to 3 different skills, none of which we are using. But the rest of those stats are actually pretty good. I may hang on to that ring for now. We still didn't find a medal, so I will go craft one. Actually, I'll probably see if there's one for sale, because you can get +2 to skeletons on rings. The 2 options here, one of them will give you a crystal, which is what I'm going to take. This Aether Cluster is really good for hardcore. Basically, this is a I don't take damage button, so you can see here, 8-second duration, 75% damage absorption. It really, really reduces the amount of damage you take. On hardcore, I recommend having one of these as often as you can. The other option I think gives you more XP, but we're going to take that one. So now we continue on, resummoning the stupid Blight Fiends, because they keep expiring. The build by Uncle Mac has you take the Primal Spirit fairly early-ish. It's another one of those things that, I don't know, maybe I'm just being lazy. It's a really good pet, but I hate having to summon the damn thing. I guess if you want to play a pet build where you don't have to summon temporary pets, you should probably play a Conjurer. I think even then, though, or a Kabbalist would be better. Alright, so we got this rift here. It's time to go turn some quests in. See if we can find a medal with plus skeletons on it. Probably won't, but yeah, you never know. Might get lucky. Not this time, though. Let's just get rid of all this junk. One thing you can do as well is you come to this. This is all your sold stuff. Just chuck pet in there and just see what shows up. That is actually not a horrible amulet. Or medal, sorry. What's this one? Amulet of the Eye. Oh, good. That was pretty good resistances on that. It's only lightning, however. Lightning and poison. You know what, I am going to use that. It's not a massive upgrade, but it does let us cap lightning, gives us more poison. We'll probably replace it fairly quickly. Let's see if this guy's got anything for us. +2 to raise skeletons, that'll do. That, I think, puts us... Oh, we're just shy. How is our reputation? Still friendly. 300 short, okay. Potentially turning this in will get us the reputation. There we go, okay. There's respected with Devil's Crossing, which means we can come to the Quartermaster here, and we're looking for the Blade Sworn Talisman. I'm going to buy that. It's the only thing I'm interested in right now. It's going to let us craft a relic. Now, to be fair, this relic, aside from allowing me to dual wield that weapon, this relic is not good for a pet build. Okay, but we now have 10 skeletons. It also, because this one has the of binding on it, so I get percent all damage, I get the rest of my physical damage converted to Aether, I get health, I get offensive ability, physical resistance, Aether resistance, vitality resistance. This is really good. If you have something like this, you don't have to swap, okay? If you are not comfortable playing on hardcore, or if you're playing on hardcore but you're not confident, don't have to swap. If you're playing on veteran and you're not confident, you don't have to swap that. Okay, you can leave this equilibrium on. You can have a shield here. You can keep your book. You can, maybe you still have the carver's wand, whatever. You don't have to dual wield. This is a little bit risky. This has basically no defenses on it. Like, the only defensive stat on this entire item for my character is 5% health, which is not a big deal. Alright, I take it off. Again, what's that, 126 odd health? 124 health, something like that. It's not a lot of health, so if you're not confident, don't use it. With that said, I want to get my other silk swatch, which I somehow don't have the resilient plating for. I swear I made 2 of those. But that's fine, I'll make another one. Okay, silk swatch. I put the silk swatch on the legs. This gives me a bit more bleeding, gives me a bit more piercing. The undead in the area coming up are going to do a lot of piercing damage, and they also do elemental damage. Where did I lose a bunch of elemental resistances from? That's where. Okay. As far as elemental resistances go, you can make these. These go in your amulet and your metal. And you know what? I am going to make 2 of those. They will be replaced later on, but for right now, they're really good. Soul shards go in rings. I will have to take the frozen hearts off of these, but I will be using that. And I will be taking, I'm going to be deleting that book, which is, it's going to be painful to actually do it, but I'm going to delete that book and get my Wrathstone back. So this is going to hurt, because that is a very nice leveling book, but I need that. Alright, so we're looking good. We are dual wielding. We're going to be squishy because of it. And I'm going to keep dual wielding these until I get to Elite and farm the Warden in Act 1 Elite for a replacement. I will be farming him until I get one with 100% conversion. 92% is not enough. And then at that point, we will probably swap this out for most likely a shield dropped by the same guy. But this seems like a good place to take a break, so that'll be it for episode number 3. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.